August 9th, 2014, 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot by then Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson. His death sparked days of protest and spawned the Black Lives Matter movement. It also revealed what some say never left, a divide between many African Americans and law enforcement. Michael Brown's father joins me now, Michael Brown Sr. Thank you for coming to KMOX.
You're welcome.
I know that you have the memorial event that's coming up, sponsored by the Chosen for Change organization, the Michael Brown Foundation, the Urban League, and Greater St. Mark Church. We'll talk about what's going to happen there that weekend. But what's the goal of it?
Well, the goal is just to push the foundation and just show the public that we love them and we're trying to do everything we can to just build us as Black folks back up.
And when you say we love them, you mean who?
All the families, everybody in this world, all the supporters, all the people that lost their loved ones, everyone, from old to young.
After your son died, how soon was it on your heart then to start a foundation, to start a movement?
Well, it started in November of 2014. It didn't get off the ground until a little later, but yes, we started moving around with that slogan and trying to make the foundation what it is now.
What does Chosen for Change mean?
Well, actually, it's a young guy that was probably 12 years old, drew a picture of Mike Brown Jr. And it had Chosen for Change at the bottom of it. So I'm looking for you right now. I got your information. I'm coming to holler at you. Thank you for that. And we ran with it. We said, wow, that's it. That's it right there. We're gonna use it. So since then, we just been pushing that, and we think that's just the perfect name for Mike Brown Jr.
And in that Chosen for Change, there's hurt, and out of a tragedy to be chosen for change. Who would want to be chosen in this way? What hurts you still 2 years later?
Well, not being able to talk and see my son and hold him and have conversations with him. That day still goes through my mind, feelings. When other families that we reach out to lose their lost ones, it's just a repeat. It's a repeated thing, so I'm just trying to just stay above water, with all of the tragedies that's going on. So, that's just what it is.
Do you still have unanswered questions?
Yeah, a whole lot of them.
Yeah?
A whole lot of them.
Like?
Why?
Yeah.
My number one. Why? But yeah, so it's a whole lot of them. I don't want to,
right, I understand. When you say why, though, why did it happen? Why did he shoot? How many whys are there?
It's probably over 100 whys. Mm-hmm.
Did you know where your son was that day? Had you talked to him that day?
Yes, I talked to him that day. I was actually at work, and my mother had called me and told me that I needed to go pick him up. I told her once I had because we was doing a little laundry. So once I got out of laundry, helping the Cal get the stuff together, we was going to go pick him up. Now, the thing that Cal brought to my attention was mind-blowing, because if I had went to get him, maybe I would have witnessed what had happened to him. And that could have been really bad.
If you had been there that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also think if you had been there that day earlier, it would not have happened? Does that go through your mind as well? A lot of people who go through tragedy do think, what if?
Yeah. To this day, I still blame myself. Cal asked me why. Because, you're supposed to protect your children. They're just the first thought. Where is it that I feel like if it was a different way around, would I still been able to save him? I think I would have had my life taken for his life. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just the biggest thing. We just feel like we're supposed to protect our children no matter what. So I feel like I failed sometimes, But I have to I get myself together after beating myself up for something that I couldn't stop, and get to the reality of it that maybe that was just in the plans of life. I don't know, that
Maybe
might
that's
sound crazy,
no.
but yeah. So when I became open-minded, not too much of negative thoughts came through my head, a little open, positive thoughts like, it wasn't your fault.
I know that I can imagine, let me put it that way, how angry you are at the police, certainly at the former officer, Darren Wilson. Did you have any moment where you said, even to your late son, why? Why were you there? Why did you go into that convenience store that day? Why did you ever have do you have any questions for him even? Why?
Yeah, that's who all the whys are for.
Yeah.
Him. They're for Darren Wilson, So,
What would you say if you could
well, at this
if
point,
he was here right now?
At this point, I wouldn't have a conversation with him. But in the beginning, I would. Those would have been the questions that I would have asked him.
So you still have, it sounds like, a level of anger, and it's only been 2 years, a level of anger that you feel like we'd have to restrain you, is what I'm hearing.
I couldn't sit in the room with him.
Right. You could not sit in the room with him at all.
I could not sit in the room with him at all.
People came to his defense. Were you aware of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that was raised for him? Were you aware of that at the time?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
It made me feel kind of, it upset me, but it lets me know how they stick together.
Right.
It shows me how other races, they come together, and that's something that we need to do ourselves. So as them having their own different community, and we having our own, it just shows how they stick up for one another, no matter right or wrong, or however they feel, if it was right or wrong.
Right.
Some people think that he did the right thing that day. So, everybody has their own opinion, but, it just let me know how people stick together. And that's something that we have to work on as Black people.
Which I think is something that's going to happen again at the memorial event coming up. What do you say? What's your reaction really to those who, and it's only been 2 years, but to this day still think of the hands up, don't shoot as a lie? What do you say to those who say that the scenario was wrong, and people who have even said, hey, y'all just don't resist. Just don't resist the police and it'll all go fine. Michael might have been resisting. They believe. What do you say to all of that?
Well, in the deep, I don't know if you read the report.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the part where they said he did inflict wounds with his hands up? That just answer all the questions right there.
And there remains though I guess it's the division that 60% of Black people don't trust police and 80% of white people do. I mean, maybe it is all about that. Do you think? As to why?
It's like this. Everyone is different. Everyone has different interconnections with the police. Some have family members that have been raped, touched differently, jumped on, put dope on. Everyone has been affected by the police. Now, it might not have been the ones, we I don't know, there's still some good police out here. I'm not going to say I dislike the police, but it's families and people that's been torn by the system. And what everyone was able to see or got to look at was people being upset with the system. So,
in terms of the protests and the rioting, that's yes. You say we got to see how upset people are with the system.
Yes,
that's what that was all about.
Yes, like I said, I didn't condone none of it, but hey, everybody has their own agenda, and that wasn't mine. But I do mentally understand.
Right.
I wouldn't say go do that, but I understand.
Did you ever get involved with, and Black Lives Matter, for people who, it was not created by someone in Ferguson, created by someone else. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but were you ever involved with Black Lives Matter?
No.
What do you think of what they're trying to do anyway?
Well, people are just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Are you going to say opportunistic?
Yes.
Okay, I'm helping.
Thank you. And they use the death of my son to make money. A lot of people. Some people could be. It's hard to tell who's genuine and who's just out for cash, But in the streets, there's a lot of people that just gained off my son and really not doing the work. If everybody look at our website, Chose for Change, they see who doing the work. We out here busting butts,
trying to
make it aware of what of that we love our people and we trying to clean some of this up instead of just raking in and we don't see nothing that you're doing.
Right.
So I just feel like the people that need to, that's trying to prove themselves, they need to go in partnership with us and let's make it happen.
All right. That was an invitation, y'all, in case you did not catch that. So we talked about the division on the issue of police brutality, and that attitude remains and that work remains. Lots of law enforcement, even in Dallas, where the 5 officers were killed, that department, after the death of your son, looked at itself and began to change and was noted around the country for the things that they were doing. That came out of the death of your son. And yet this division over is police brutality real or are people just whining, that remains. But when officers are ambushed and killed, that clearly does not help the argument at all.
No, it don't.
It doesn't help what you're trying to do at all.
No, it don't. It needs to go back to the table. We need to sit down and come up with some type of solution. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you are a good cop and you know a bad cop doing something wrong, that makes you a bad cop too. So this is what makes the trust issues with the community, with community and law enforcement. If that's just, I'm just being honest. If you see someone doing something wrong and you sit back and let them do that, that's just like on everyday living. You just as guilty as them too, right?
My pastor once said, if you walk by wrong and do nothing, that becomes your standard. So
it's better clear it up than what I just said.
But I'm hearing in my mind as you say that people are saying, well, what about the wrong? Because this is what always happens. Whenever it is said Black Lives Matter, then, well, hey, all lives matter and the blue lives matter. And what about the violence in the Black community? And they're speaking to, of course, those who protest that they don't see, and that doesn't mean it's not happening, but they don't see the work being done to solidify the family and to educate and to get people employed and to stop, whatever violence you might be involved in.
Yeah.
So people can't come to the understanding of what Black Lives Matter means because they feel like to Black people, your lives don't matter because of what they see happening in the community. But they also don't see the efforts that have long been underway. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
What's your message? Go ahead. What we?
Well, we have a lot of issues with our own selves too that we have to be that need to be straightened out too. Community violence is the rates on that is just up too high. I understand we're not going to always get along. It's just human nature. I don't got to go get a gun and kill you just because I just disagree with what you just said. So it's just something that we have to work on as far as people with our tempers and just knowing how to have
a disagreement.
A disagreement.
Yeah.
And a regular conversation. This is ABC 1, 2, 3. Not the jungle. So.
Have you been able to, since your son died, have young Black men come to you?
Yeah.
Have you been able to talk? And what are they worried about? What are they saying to you?
Are they next?
They're saying, are they
Are
next?
the police going to kill them? It's a lot of children that's traumatized. I got 3 boys myself, that's through marriage, and these are conversations that they have with me, It's and they're young. They feel like they have to protect themselves, but when they get older, that they don't know if the police going to kill them, so they feel like they need to do something about that because they killed their brother. So it's conversations that I have to have in the household. It's conversations that I have to have with children on the street. It's all about interacting. If you feel like they on the edge, just comply. Get a badge number. Get a name. And if you're too young, you have to take that conversation to your parents. Just remember, get the badge number and their name, and make a complaint. So.
Are you mentoring now? Have you been?
I've been doing a little bit.
What is that like for you?
Different. I always was a quiet guy.
You are quiet. I can tell. Yeah,
So,
you're a quiet man.
I'm on my element. So
That's what chosen for change means.
There we go.
Yeah, out of your comfort zone.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to finish a couple of sentences for me. So this will get you out of your. I'm taking you completely out of your comfort zone.
Oh,
all right,
God.
You can do this.
Let's see.
You can do this. Okay, these are. I want you to be creative, and I want you to come from the heart. You said earlier, I'm just going to be honest. I want you to be honest. Okay, so finish these sentences. I wish police officers would
take the time out to learn a community, get back out into the community, and interact with civilians. Like I say, in my thoughts, growing up, they used to get out, play basketball, jump rope with the children. They knew your name up and down the street. It wasn't. Just need to get back to the basics.
I wish black people could
love one another. Love one another. That's what's missing out here is love. If we loved, we wouldn't do a lot of the negativity that's going on in the world.
And lastly, and then we want to talk about the event. I wish my son, Michael Brown Jr.
Well, you always live on. I wish I could have just had another talk before all this had happened to him that day. I wish I could have had another conversation with him.
What would you have said?
I'm on my way to come get you.
Yeah.
I'm on my way right now. So.
You guys were close.
Yes, ma'am. That's my best man in my wedding.
Was he really?
Yes,
and he said Cal. I meant to say who Cal is. Cal is your wife, who's with us as well today. Because there certainly is an image of the absent black father who's not involved, who isn't there, but you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
You were involved.
Yes, ma'am.
This is an image that people don't see, really, or don't think.
Well, this is the image that people don't want to see.
Yeah.
The black father that's still in the family. They don't want to see that.
And you are a married man.
Yes.
You are raising children.
Yes.
I've asked where the 3-year-old was today because I wanted to smooch on.
Michael.
Get my baby fix in.
Right.
So you're still raising children.
Yes, ma'am.
Has this made it easier, harder, or more determined?
Well, they bring a joy out of me. I see some of the flaws because, I had Mike when I was young. We had Mike when we was young. So, I strive to do better. Yes, I am very protective now than ever.
Yeah.
So, I do my job.